highlight a couple of things on your notes. I'm not going to go over the entire presentation. You can watch the video for that, but I want to highlight a couple of things. First things first. Oh, I just hit the wrong button. Oh, darn it. Oh, well. Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. Have we seen this today? Yes. It's on the paper I gave you on the activity. If I were you, if I was in your shoes, and Mr. Allen said this is the most important lesson in this chapter, which I think that it is, this would be one slide that I'd be very familiar with. This is how you calculate the slope of a tangent line. This is what we did on the problem 7. This is problem 7 of what we just did. Okay? However, I want to point something else out, and then we're going to do one more problem, which is going to take us through the rest of the period. 2 more things, sorry. This is the most important slide of this entire semester. Right there. If you were going to go out and get a tattoo representing your math class for this year, guess what that tattoo would say? That right there. This is the formal definition of what we call the derivative. It is the most important concept of this semester. I cannot emphasize that enough. I have posted a video of me explaining this. I've posted, I think, 2 or 3 extra videos. I would encourage you to watch them all. And guess what I'd even do then if you really want to be in good shape? I'd watch some more. You know the extra homework problems I gave you? If you have time, I'd do them. I cannot emphasize how important this is. If you can get this, everything else will fall into place. If you struggle with this, you'll be okay, because guess what I'm going to do next week? I'm going to teach you shortcuts. Yay, I know. So the good news is I'm going to be really nice next week, and you're going to be like, oh, that's so nice. Guess why I'm not showing you the shortcuts this week? You wouldn't do this if I showed you the shortcuts. And you need to know this. You need to appreciate this. So this is the most important formula. This was number 8 on the activity that we just did. By the way, if you don't like delta x, what could you use? Change it to h. This will allow you to find the derivative of a function, which allows you to find the slope of the tangent line anywhere. And then I have one more thing that I want to highlight. We talked about difference quotients already, but I want to highlight this slide here. This is probably the least important thing of what I'm going to say, but I want to show you there's even a third formula involving the derivative. This is another way to find the slope of a tangent line. Notice that on this one, it doesn't have delta x going to 0. It's got x going to c. This is a difference quotient, and we're going to play a game here right now. And I'm going to let you guys pick the function. It has to be degree 2. In other words, it has to be a quadratic. Can anyone willing to give me a nice, don't make crazy numbers, just nice whole numbers, but who can give me a quadratic equation to do? Yes, sir.
4x squared plus 6x plus 4.
Can we make this thing not 4, because then they have actually, do you mind if I do this? Do you mind, since you said 4 there at the end, I'm just going to go ahead and knock that down by a factor of 2, right? Because what you just said, I could have divided through by 2. Agreed? Okay. Here's f of x. So here's what I want you to do in the time that we have left. And we have 20 minutes. A little bit less than 20 minutes. 2 things. Let's do 2 things. Number 1, I would like you to find f prime of, someone pick I'm just going to pick the number. I'm going to pick the number 1. Would you find f prime of 1? That means I want to know what is the slope of the tangent line for this curve at x equals 1, just like we did on the activity today. And I want you to use this definition, and I'll write it over here. F prime of c equals the limit as x goes to c of f of x minus f of c over x minus c. That's that definition. And number 2, so question mark, And number 2, I would like you to find f prime of x. This is the derivative of this function. In other words, it's the formula that gives me all the slopes of the tangent lines, anywhere. And that was, and I'll go back to that one. That was the one I said if you're going to get a tattoo, that's the one to get. By the way, if you go home and tell your parents I'm encouraging you to get a tattoo, I will deny it. Yes?
So C
is the x value.
it's the one we're given, right?
Yeah, so in this case here,
That makes sense.
yeah. Guys, just remember, this C is the x value, that the specific x value we're looking at. In this problem, I'm asking you C is equal to 1, right? So you would just change this to 1, you would change that to 1, you would change that to 1. F of x is this. This is f of x. That's C. Okay? Now, my challenge is for you to do this and get both the answers right as best you can. You got to be careful. This one's a little bit harder than one we did, but it's no more difficult in terms of there's squaring as high as you need to go. I won't give you anything to the third or anything like that. And I haven't done this problem either, so you got to give me a few minutes to make sure I know what the answer is. And I recorded myself. So we've got that f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 3x plus 2. And the first thing that I've asked you to do is to find f prime of 1. And I asked you to use the alternate definition, which means you need to do the limit as x goes to 1 of f of x minus f of 1 over x minus 1. So this is what you need to work out. It's a limit. What is f of x? Well, it's right there, right? So this is going to be the limit as x goes to 1 of 2x squared plus 3x plus 2 minus. Now we got to figure out what f of 1 is. Well, if you plug 1 in that thing up there, what do you get? You get 7. So this is 7 over x minus 1. Now we need to clean things up. What's 2 minus 7? I think that's going to give us a minus 5. X goes to 1 of 2x squared plus 3x minus 5 all over x minus 1. Now, guys, have you ever been in a class where you could tell the teacher's already done the problem before? They like set you up and like you even wonder like could they even do one on their own? This is a problem. I asked him to give it to me, right? Now, I cleaned it up a little bit, but he gave me the problem. So if you don't like the problem, that's the guy right there, okay?
I don't.
Does anybody know, by the way, if we were to plug x equals 1 in right now, can you guess what the answer would be? 0 over 0. So that doesn't work. But guess what happens to the numerator? It can be factored. Does anybody know what the numerator factors to? Yes.
X minus 1 and 2x plus 5.
Correct. Again, this is an algebra 1 skill, so I'm not going to spend time talking about how you factor. Okay? If you need help with that, please see me on the side. Oh, guess what happens now? X minus 1 and x minus 1 cancel, which is very good because that's where the issue was. So we're going to get the limit as x goes to 1 of 2x plus 5. Now we can do direct substitution, and you get your answer of 7. How many of you got 7? Well played. By the way, if you did that on your own, pat yourself on the back. You're doing, this is as hard of stuff as I'm going to ask you to do today. If you can do this, you can do calculus. If you can do this, you can do calculus. Okay? Questions on this one? We are running out of time, so I'm going to have to go quickly on part 2. Part 2, I asked you to find f prime of x. So you have to do the limit as h goes to 0. Now I've got to do 2 times x plus h squared minus, plus 3 times x plus h plus 2. Then I've got to minus f of x. all of that over
H.
H. Not, I almost wrote delta X, but we're doing H. Now, guys, this thing is a hot mess. I'm going to tell you that the final answer is 4x plus 3. Anybody get that one? Well done. Test next week. I posted the review on Canvas.